And for Cruz, he won a unanimous decision November the 28th.
Short turnaround, as you mentioned, for Pablo Cruz. You like fighters, stacking up fights like that, Smitty?
I'm I'm old school, so the fighting, and I understand all the safety stuff,
Sure.
but I would love to see fighters at least fighting minimum 4 times a year. You're not going to see it at a high level anymore, but as you're getting seasoned and going up the ladder in the embryonic stages, you love to see it. Now Cruz is a guy who's not in the embryonic stages. He's very, very experienced, as is Valencia. But with the pandemic and everything, that's what's been so great. Hats off to RJJ Boxing, Keith Veltri, and everybody involved, giving these guys consistency. It's so important.
100%. And again, we are back at it tomorrow night. This night 1 of a 2-night doubleheader. See Cruz setting up that jab, goes to the body.
I had a chance to speak to Pablo. Well, we spoke to him a couple days ago in our fighter interviews, but he was excited to see. He mentioned Johnny Tapia, and I pulled out a couple of pictures of Tapia on my show and me in the ring with him, and he just says that's what he wants to be, an action fighter, a guy like the late great Hall of Famer Johnny Tapia.
I have yet to hear a boxer tell you who their favorite boxer is without you pulling out a photo and sharing a personal story. It's great.
Yeah, well.
You're the boxing historian.
That's right. Well, I don't know if it's that or my massive ego, much larger than my diminutive stature.
You said it. I didn't say it. You said it.
But I'm somewhat of a lethal mosquito with the mic, though. And we see the lethal mosquito moving around there, showing a lot of movement, showing a lot of angles, popping the jab.
Trying to get that uppercut there was Valencia.
Off of the southpaw style, Valencia. Nice body work by Cruz there.
You mentioned our fighter meetings. Cruz really prided himself on being in exciting and aggressive fights. His coach said there haven't been too many people that have really been able to match his style of fighting.
Another nice left hook by Cruz. Valencia coming back with a combination, but Cruz got the better of it.
He said he's constantly in the gym, always training, always getting ready for a fight. So, he felt very fortunate to get this opportunity and get back to work here tonight in Mexico.
Yeah, if you fight and you don't get hurt, you don't suffer any serious, obviously, cuts or anything, why not get back in there? I remember, Mike Tyson's been in the news a lot lately, hasn't he? And I think his first year he fought 14 times. Of course, he only got 14 rounds into. But I love activity. I call inactivity, it's like high blood pressure. It's the silent killer, and we see too much of that. That's why I'm so happy to, even for us as broadcasters, you're working all the time because you do both sports and stuff. But, man, even when we're off, let's say we're off a year or something or 6 months, you suffer from it. And imagine being a fighter where it's a little more painful to be a fighter and suffer from the inactivity than a broadcaster.
Right. Longest 4 months of my life during the first bit of this pandemic, Smitty.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, too, about fighters being active. We'll talk a lot about just kind of losing their identity when they're not looking forward to a fight or preparing for a fight.
You mentioned what Valencia needs to do. He's waiting a little bit too much now, and just what he needs to do is let your hands go, and you can't just throw arbitrary punches. So for him, what he needs to do is the jab. For him, in his case, the right jab. He led with the straight left. That was good. Just let your hands go. Good head movement. We mentioned the lack of head movement earlier in the night. Now you see good head movement by Cruz, constantly moving that head.
Loading up on some shots to the body and then going back to the head is Cruz. These two men really just head-to-head, fighting in close.
Cruz only has 6 knockouts in his 20 victories, and you can see why. He doesn't really punch for necessarily power. He punches for volume and accuracy. Valencia, not many, only 5 KOs, so neither one of these guys are blistering punchers.
Nice combination.
Very nice combination by Valencia, his best of the fight.
You talk about that posture of Valencia. It's not nearly as aggressive as his opponent here in Cruz, who lands a nice right hand. And Valencia landing in kind as well. Some of this action.
Yeah, Valencia had a better second round. Landed that shot there, stole a jab, good defense, picked his shots better. All the volume, you know, earlier in the round was Cruz, but Valencia came on. Certain people don't like even rounds. I simply don't have a problem calling a round even when somebody gets on me about that. I said, well, you know, if both teams score a touchdown, an extra point, and a field goal, and it's, what do you not have it 10-10? Right. I mean, you know, come on. One of the things, heads came together there.
Looks like it, yeah.
Valencia bleeding from the side of the head. So this is one that should not be an issue.
Looks like we are okay to go.
I would imagine accidental headbutt. I didn't actually see it, but I'm sure the truck will get it for us.
Getting back to your point about an even round, Smitty, the best argument for an even round, in my opinion, is when someone says, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to see us go more to not just a 10-9, but 10-8, 10-7, 10-5. You know, utilize more. It's a 10-point must system. We don't use the points enough, and we should. And I think it would eliminate or help, not eliminate, but it would help probably lessen the amount of absolutely horrible judging performances by some of these judges who don't need to be judges. Right now, Valencia being very accurate. Using the ring, moving a little bit more. Not bothered by any of the blood. Good combination. And Cruz getting a little sloppy defensively, coming in and looking straight down with his head, and Valencia should try to bring up the left uppercut. There he brings up the right uppercut.
Just past the halfway point here, round number 3. You definitely can tell that Valencia is doing what he needs to do to get some momentum on his side. He's changed the way that he's approached this fight.
Yeah, the complexion has changed. Good movement by Valencia, avoiding the shots. Lands a really effective 3 or 4 punch combination. He's really looking to throw that lead uppercut.
You got a cut there maybe on the brow of Cruz. Cruz eating some punishment here. Exchanging shots to the body.
Again, the posture of Cruz, and I've said it earlier with some of the other fights, looking straight down is really a bad habit. And there he gets that. You're just going to get hit with uppercuts.
I think that blood that I saw on the face of Cruz may have been that of Valencia's.
Yeah, it's really starting to come out of the side of the head. Unless there's another cut, I don't think there is. I just think it's that same cut, but it's not. It's actually fueling him, isn't it?
It is. It's definitely sparked something in him as he's gotten this fight going his way here in this third round.
And the heads came together there, it looked like to me. Bam, There you go.
There it is.
Great work by the truck.
James Smitty Smith, south of the border in beautiful San Carlos, Sonora, Mexico, the Marina Terra Hotel and Spa. Kind enough to be our home for 2 nights on UFC Fight Pass.
And for the 5th time and 6th time tomorrow, it's our own little bubble on the beach.
Fight
here
paradise.
In San Carlos, yeah.
It's beautiful.
we're indoors tonight and tomorrow because of the inclement weather moving in. But either way, inside, outside, I still managed to find my own private beach today. Went for a little walk. Beautiful here. I really like it. Cruz coming back, being aggressive, letting his hands go, probably realizing that he lost the last round.
Eating a variety of strikes here by Valencia is Cruz.
You know, these are really entertaining fights. Every single one of them, you know.
Oh yeah.
Not a, you know. Have we even mentioned the referee other than to come in?
We really no. I mean, this has been a really great night of action, and it sort of sets the bar for all of the fights that are headed your way this week from San Carlos. Valencia complaining about a shot again to the back of the head, it looked like.
Oh, nice combination and good slick move by Valencia to get out of there.
It's really great to see these guys that understand where they are in the ring,
yep.
You know, exploit that to their advantage, and it's a thing of beauty.
Even in dodge, sometimes it's good to get out of dodge. Even in a gunfight, sometimes move out, create some openings. Cruz is just content to get in there and just let those hands go, and he's not focusing on any defense whatsoever, and that's why he's paying the price.
You have these shots starting to mount here for Eddy Valencia. See some bigger shots here by Cruz, maybe out of frustration. Digging that right hand to the body, and Valencia finds a combination of his own with a nice right hand to the jaw.
But both of these guys are primarily arm punchers. Sometimes Valencia gets some leverage behind his shots, but they're not knockout artists, but they're so evenly matched, and with their styles, it really makes for a fan-friendly fight, as you see.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of give and take by both men here in round number 4. Really going for it are these featherweights. Final 10 seconds of this 4th round.
Can do. He's not as big a puncher as Solis. There he did something I like. It's real simple. He just started right out. As soon as the guy got within reach, he put the jab in his face.
You talk about it being the most important punch in boxing, and I hear that a lot. It's not often I see it implemented, though, Smitty. What is it about fighters that just get them away from their jab?
I think it's just something that they don't focus on in the gym and in sparring. And, I know my trainer, the late, great Mac Goodman, he would sometimes, a nice shot there, staggered Cruz a little bit off balance. He would have me sometimes do a round or two in sparring and on the heavy bag where I would throw nothing but the jab. And I remember one time him taping my right hand with duct tape, and all I could use was the jab. My opponent in sparring was told not to hurt me, which I really like, but that helped. I know those are really old school crazy things, but that's what I did.
Nice right hand finds a home for Valencia there.
Oh, nice body shot by Cruz there,
yep.
Slapping, but Cruz still has that habit. You see his head's right down. If I were Valencia, I'd go back to throwing the uppercut. It's right there for him. He's trying to create an angle to throw it. He tends to throw it, though, off of the lead hand, the right, instead of the left. Typically, orthodox fighters, when they throw that right, they throw the right uppercut. But whatever works. Cruz really letting his hands go now, trying to get back in this fight. Not that he's out of the fight, but trying to win this round, because I think he feels he might have dropped the last round.
And this has been, a bit of a marathon fight, and you look at, the amount of knockouts that they have in their history. Both men got to be prepared to go into the latter part. Are we seeing Valencia maybe take a little bit of time to, slow his pace for the latter part here in this round, you think?
I think that's just in his DNA. That's just who he is. He's a pretty relaxed guy, and he's focusing more on accuracy. Cruz focusing more on volume. Neither guy a puncher. There's a couple of things that are God-given. You can improve on your power, but you either got it or you don't. and the ability to take a punch. You either got it or you don't. Both of these guys definitely can take a good punch, but don't have big punches. And there are trainers that try to argue with me and say, oh, I can teach a guy how to. No, you can't. Guy either punches or he doesn't. You can improve, but you're either a puncher or you're not. And but I tell you what, sometimes when you get two guys that don't have the biggest shots, but they're like this, it makes for, this is a tough round to score.
What a fight, what a through.
1, 2, 3 punches by Cruz. Valencia comes back with a combination. Better work there by Valencia and there. But then Cruz just comes right back. Again, the more accurate shots, Valencia 4 or 5 times and have it 4 or 5 different ways.
I might go back and watch that round later tonight back at the hotel. 6th round underway here. TJ DeSantis, James Smitty Smith, RJJ Boxing south of the border tonight. The beautiful Marina Terra Hotel and Spa in San Carlos. You know, this is one of those fights that really showcases the finer points of a evenly matched boxing affair. And, you know, I like to see the evolution of the tactics over the course of, you know, thus far 6 rounds, 5 rounds and some change. We've seen both men really adjust and make some changes, and we'll see how it goes down the stretch here as we get closer and closer to crunch time.
Yeah, there is a reason why they call it the sweet science and all. Though neither one of these guys will be with me in Canastota, they're still implementing a lot of the talents. Sometimes, you know, one of the things that Cruz told me was his other favorite fighter was Arturo Gatti, non-stop action. And I tell you, there's no quit in either one of these guys, and it's really a very even fight. I don't know how the judges are seeing it, if they're seeing it but I can't even imagine they don't have this thing close. And you know what? Another thing, even if it's, let's say it was just a shutout, which it's not, but if it was, every round, I've had fights where I've scored 3 or 4 points the other way. They're still just razor close rounds.
Right.
People say, how could you have it 3 points the other way? Because the guy won the rounds barely each round.
I mean, I've seen fights where judges have every single round different from one another, and it's because the fight is that close, and both of these men would love to keep it out of the hands of the judges. But again, this is a very evenly matched fight, and it's shaping up to be a great one.
This round pretty much dominated by Valencia thus far because he's implementing a lot of movement, a lot of side to side, creating some angles like that, ring generalship. And this is clearly his round, and you may have been a point, I think you mentioned maybe he took a round off a little bit, and that's what it looks like, because this round he is really, really accurate and busy and defensively responsible and not letting himself, he's trying to slide off of there. Finally, the referee gets a little bit of work. About time. Oh, beautiful 5-punch combination.
Valencia really coming alive here in the final 30 seconds or so of round number 6. Cruz trying to come forward and make something happen back into close quarter style of fighting once again. Ooh, nice left hand. Trying to take some shots to the body as Cruz eats a right hand there. Frustrated, and I think, you know, justifiably so. This was a nice bit of work here by Eddy Valencia.
See him on the inside. Even though he's there, he's being responsible. He's got his hands in the right place, stealing them with 4, 5, 6 shots. He's got his head out of position to be hit. And there again, it's all Valencia in that round.
Underway, TJ DeSantis, James Smitty Smith, Pablo Cruz in the blue with white, Eddy Valencia in the black with silver. You know, we hear that adage, you know, about taking a round off, but you're still out there being defensive. You're still going through the paces. What can you really expect to get back from, you know, quote unquote, taking a round off? Because thus far it looks pretty good for Valencia.
You store things. Not everybody is a Floyd Mayweather that can take everything in the first few rounds and then make it work. Sometimes a fighter has to readjust. and use a round to sort of take in some information. Also, if you're fatigued, it can help you get back some of your stamina, if you will. And but primarily, it's usually one of those two or three. If you're hurt, you take the round off, or you're trying to figure something out to make an adjustment or get some stamina back. One of those three usually. And I, you know, in distance fights, I don't mind seeing it. Sometimes it drives a corner crazy, but a fighter has to do what he has to do. And for Valencia, I think you nailed it. I think he took a round off there to make some adjustments, and we see what's happened since then. You see it right now.
Moving forward is Eddy Valencia, trying to halt it with the doubling of the jab, though, is Pablo Cruz.
Right now, Cruz is doing something he's not accustomed to doing, and that's backing up.
Right.
We saw what happened to Sanchez in the last fight when he did that, when all of a sudden the other guy, Solis, became the aggressor. And I don't think Cruz fights well, probably off of his back foot.
And it goes back to that criteria that you were talking about, your fifth criteria of doing, you know, more of what you want to do. And right now, that's Eddy Valencia.
And you can just see the look on his face, his demeanor. He looks like the guy who is in charge, if you will. He's not trying to land hard shots. He's just trying to be accurate and finish and be responsibly defensively.
Combination of punches by Valencia. Again, these guys can tend to get very close and fight on the inside, not clinching too much.
One of the things that Valencia is doing a much better job on the inside, if you watch his hands, his placement of his hands, he's picking off a lot of the shots. You know, he'll have that right hand underneath to block any uppercuts, and there he can slip his own shot in. Another good round for Eddy Valencia. Lethal mosquito. Most of his punches are kind of like mosquito bites. They sting a little bit, but they don't.
Eighth and final round underway. Pablo Cruz, Eddy Valencia, TJ DeSantis, James Smitty Smith, Marina Terra Hotel and Spa in beautiful San Carlos, Mexico. Appreciate you joining us tonight live for night one of our two-night doubleheader here for RJJ Boxing.
You can hear the shots by Cruz. They're slapping shots. He's just not turning his shots over. And sometimes a guy does that on purpose when he realizes in his career after X number of fights that I'm not a puncher. I just got to land more. So you don't focus on really turning over your shots the proper way, a la, you know, an Alexis Arguello of old time or a Triple G in modern time, where you focus on really making the punches count. But nevertheless, what an entertaining fight this has been.
100%. I mean, you obviously have shared your scorecard, but this has been a fight where it's been close. We may see, you know, the judges have varying scores for each round.
How dare these judges disagree with me, as they've done in the past.
That's what I try to tell them, Smitty, but they say something about free thought.
There's been so many, you know, these rounds that were close, and but in terms of, I think the key that has turned it around for Valencia has been the, if you will, the ring generalship. The fact that he just seems to be doing more of what he wants to do and doing it right now. And I like the fact that he's showing way better defense. They've done a nice job on that cut on the forehead there. Don't see any blood the last few rounds, which is also a sign that he's being better defensively.
You know, obviously you score the fight round by round. It's not done as a whole. But if you were just to look at this fight and not score it round by round and just, you know, look at the demeanor of each fighter, you got to believe that Eddy Valencia is the guy that's doing more of what he wants to do. And I think that's been evident over the last few rounds.
I would agree with you, and he's doing it right now in this last round, where I think Cruz needs the round. Eddy is winning this round as well with under 45 seconds to go. Wow, nice looping left by Valencia.
And again, not getting too aggressive, though, after landing that shot, and Cruz trying to come back with some offensive of his own. Coming up here on the final moments of this 8th and final round. 10 seconds left for these featherweights to leave it all in the ring. And that is...
Ladies and gentlemen, after going all 8 rounds here at the Marina Terra Hotel and Spa, we consult the official scorecard to determine a winner. Judge Cota scores about 77-75. Judge Orona, 79-73. And Judge Drew scores it 78-74. All in favor of the winner by way of unanimous decision. Puro Culiacán, Sinaloa. El Dinamita, Eddy Valencia.
Eddy Valencia's 16th win of his boxing career, unanimous decision.